Welcome to Glow 365 for The Mia Allman Show, presented by Official Woman of Culture. I am your host, Coach Lady Mia. I'm a certified master life coach and certified mental health counselor and practitioner who shares honest conversations on the important issues that affect men and women, and the importance of living healthy by embracing and celebrating our cultural heritage, and so much more. And now, let's get started. Welcome to Glow 365 on The Mia Allman Show, presented by My Queen's Keepers. I'm your host, Coach Lady Mia. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm so happy to be back after taking a little self-care break to regroup, rejuvenate, and finish some projects I started. Now, thinking back last year, moving forward into 2024, it has brought so many blessings from becoming the Vice President and Entertainment and Development Chairperson for the Jamaican American Association of Central Florida and President of the Strength to Breathe. But first, I have to say a big shout out to my Glow team and my Queen's Keepers, because turning the triple 20s, that big 60, in March, I received the most precious gift from God that I've always wanted, and that was having women I can call my sisters, because some of the ladies have been there back in the day through thick and thin and have supported me, so I definitely can't leave them out. So a few days before turning 60, I went through this transformation of tears of gratitude and reflection. Then, at my birthday dinner that they planned, sitting at the head of the table with, of course, my little diamond crown my sis gave me, I was reflecting again and looking at each one of these women, hashtag queens they are. The only thing I could say was, thank you, God. And folks, having group of women that I can call real sisters, and let me tell you, they truly embody the true meaning of a sisterhood as we support each other through the storms, from the sunny days to the rainy days, and even the hail of hurricanes of mental challenges. It's that unconditional love I will always cherish. My Queen's Keepers, and that stems from Official Woman of Culture. For me, it was time to move forward to another level to promote queens within a sisterhood. After having several conversations with women who share the lack of trust, unhealthy behaviors between women, folks, that worries me to the core. Unity is a must among women. There's no need for jealousy or bad-mindedness. It's about supporting one another and loving each other unconditionally. I can't stress that enough. With that said, in season 4, I want to bring a whole new twist on My Queen's Keepers, which is a new episode. And we're going to have real conversations that affect women, to the highs, the lows, to celebrating sisterhood, that village. And of course, I had to bring along someone special to co-host with me. Joining me this season, my sister, my cousin, Miss Debbie Jarrett. Welcome and big up yourself, sis.
Well, hey, sis, my sister Cuz, thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful introduction. And also, thank you for appointing me as your co host for season 4 of The Mia Allman Show. I look forward to us delving into various issues, starting off with our part 1 of 2 episodes, Sisterhood Truth to be Told. I echo your acknowledgments and gratitude to those you mentioned. As a member of the Jamaican Cultural Connection here in Central Florida, I am grateful to witness history herein. Heartfelt congratulations go out to Mrs. Lerna Wozencroft Franklin, our new president, and congratulations to our new vice president, Mrs. Karen Lewin. For the first time in the Jamaican Cultural Connection history, we have two queens leading us, and they have our unwavering support, and that includes the kings. A big thank you to our previous president, Ms. Rosemary Roth, and our previous vice president, Mr. Robert Young, for their amazing leadership. Our light continues to shine. And I also am a proud member of the Queen's Keepers. And it was a pleasure, Mia, to be a witness to the joy that you felt that evening as we felt equal joy celebrating you. And and I got a twist. You talk about a twist. I got a twist from the minute I saw you. I'm looking at you, and you're probably wondering why I'm looking at you so much. I was looking, and says, "No, no, I'm related to this woman." Mm-mm. And I kept saying a line in patois to you, and I'll allow you to say that because I love how you say it. But I said, I just knew I'm connected to you. So bless the day that we proved it 100%. We are indeed cousins. Not even family could tell the difference between our 7-year-old pictures. So thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. And first, let me say a special, special congrats to Miss Karen and Miss Lerna. Beautiful
Yes.
queens. And I'm telling you, these two ladies are a powerhouse to be reckoned with.
Mhm.
And not
Yes.
to be a little biased, but as Jamaicans, we run things don't run us. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love, love, love to see that those ladies just made history,
Indeed.
and so proud of them. And I'm looking forward to what they're going to bring in 2024 within that organization. And
Mhm.
I'm proud that they are our sister company with the Jamaican American Association. And I have to say one more thing. Thank you for my crown. That just
Oh.
topped everything off. Late folks, are you listening? When these ladies make you feel like a queen and put a little diamond crown on your head, let
Uh-huh.
me tell you again, the tears start come down again.
Beautiful tears.
Yes, gratitude, gratitude. I'm telling you, that's how you make your sisters show the love and the
Mhm.
unity, you know.
Mhm.
Let's say best birthday ever. And I told my kids, I said, I've had other birthdays you've done, but this one here, you know, best birthday ever.
Yeah.
So I want to also go back to this smelling of blood because we gotta have to explain what that
Y-
really means for those that are listening to let them know you are
Yes.
not a vampire. You didn't take my
Thank you.
blood. It's a whole special, maybe a Jamaican Caribbean thing that we say. So please explain to them what that really meant.
Okay. And I will say it as I said it. And I thank you for saying I'm not a vampire because what I said to you was, Mia, Mia, Miss Smell your blood. And you're like, what the? I said, I smell your blood. I kept saying it. And I was determined to prove it. And the reason I looked at you and the resemblance you have to that part of the family that you were not so familiar with, yet I was. So
Mm.
perhaps God led me to be that link for you because I wouldn't stop. Look, I said, I'm going to connect these dots because ancestry is a hobby of mine. But I don't need the kit. I can just look at people and tell who's connected to who. I don't know if it's a gift, but I did it with you
Mm-hmm.
and found out how we're connected. But it was our similarities. For instance, the way our facial expressions, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Mia?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And how we operate in the mornings. That's when we write. I've never heard anyone else say that. And I said, mm-mm. So with communication, we found out that we were connected and we found out other people that were connected, but it was the pictures, the baby
Oh,
pictures, the 7-year-old pictures,
yes, that speaks volumes.
not even your granddaughter could tell the difference. We had the same
Mm-hmm.
hairstyle, everything was the same. And that's really what sparked me to delve deeper. And so I call you, but you know, we called ourselves sis even before we knew.
Yep.
Then cuz, but I call you all kind of things that are good. Sister cuz, queen mentorship, because thank you. I have to thank you for being a mentor to me and providing me with so many opportunities unselfishly. I just have to say that. So it's an honor to be your sister and your cousin. And I'm so glad we're family.
Me too.
Thank
I'm
you.
so blessed, so blessed. I'm so blessed. And I know my father, has some other kids out there. So, sometimes I think, and could she even be my sister? Because this, as you said, the similarities are too close.
Mm-hmm. They really are.
Our mentality too close.
Mm-hmm.
Facial expression too close.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And, either way, I'm just
And
proud to be, a
yes,
family,
yes.
with
Because you know what, Mia, we all need a sense of belonging,
mm-hmm.
positive belonging.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel with you. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, it's just that special, connection. It's like that little twin connection.
Mhm. Oh, we
Intuition.
can look at each other and speak to each other without saying a word. That's what I
Hmm.
noticed.
Just that look,
Yeah.
the eyes like, yeah. You could just raise your chin like, like Brahman.
Uh-huh.
I know what you're
Uh-huh.
talking about.
Yeah. 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 Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to also congratulate you on all your accomplishments. You are indeed a visionary who not only talks the talk, but you walk the walk. And again, I echo your appreciation for those you mentioned.
Mhm.
Thank you for creating Queen's Keepers, of which I am a very proud member. It is a safe haven, a place for us to encourage each other, greet each other with positive affirmations. We help each other, like you said, during the dark times, the high times, but we're always there for each other. It reminds me of Tyler Perry's show, The Sisters. Do you
Oh,
watch that show?
yes.
That's what
That's
it.
another connection with us there.
Yes, we like the same things. We like the same shows. It's amazing. We have a zest for journalism to
Mm-hmm.
pass positive messages through the community. It's just amazing. And just the Queen's Keepers, I just love them. I love what we have here.
Yes.
And we lead by example, not by chatter, by example,
Mm-hmm.
because that's important. And I will speak on that further on in the program. Um, so today's show, part one, is Sisterhood, Truth Be Told. We will focus on the following topics. One, defining sisterhood with emphasis on emotional connections and support amongst women. Two, childhood trauma, how that affects our behavior then and now. Three, intentions within the sisterhood, where we will elaborate on the importance of authenticity experienced when women gather. And finally, four, what can we learn from a sisterhood, such as the importance of deep connections, support, and empowerment, just to name a few. There's so much to discuss.
Yes, that is a lot there to discuss,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this season here. And I really want to focus on women because it's a
Mm-hmm.
conversation that needs to be had, the sisterhood that goes beyond family bonds.
Mm-hmm.
Having a voice to speak our truth and how we can support each other to navigate through the life challenges. Because let me tell you, some days are rougher than the others. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So I'm
Yes,
looking forward
yes.
to all these, that this conversation's right here on that.
Wow, those are great topics, Mia.
Hmm.
But before we get into the specifics of this evening's show, let's take a quick break. And when we return, we will talk about what is a sisterhood.
The Jamaican American Association of Central Florida presents our annual appreciation luncheon and fashion show on April 20th, 2024 from 12 noon till 4 p.m. at the Varsity Club, Camping World Stadium, number 1, Citrus Bowl Place, Orlando, Florida 32805. Join us as we celebrate our rich culture and heritage and show appreciation to our founders, Mr. Desmond and Mrs. Marjorie Brown. Tickets are $45 for adults and $25 for children 12 and under. All proceeds from this fundraiser will benefit our scholarship fund and other charities. So call 407 292 3719, 407 486 5001, or 407 467 1741. You may also visit jaaocf.com to purchase tickets. We look forward to seeing you.
Welcome back to the Mia Allman Show. If you just joined Debbie, Miss Debbie and I, my sis, we are talking about sisterhood, truth be told. Our first discussion is on what is a sisterhood, the power of connection. Recently, Debs, you spoke about the village, which I found that very interesting when it comes to sisterhood. Now, to me, I look at that as a safe space to
Mhm,
heal and grow, to
mhm.
celebrate our achievements and accomplishments, support our vulnerability without judgment. You hear me, folks? Judgment.
Yes.
And allow us as a community to foster deeper connections for us to be authentic, not fake, authentic, in being ourselves fearlessly. What's your take on how does that resonate to you, sis?
Well, sis, it was upon my heart. I was on a show and they said, you can speak about anything you want. And it was just upon my heart to speak about the village, I termed it unity amongst women within the village. And everything I see and speak about, I do it from my personal observation. Now, through that observation, I saw the need to not just identify challenges amongst us as women in the village. I asked myself, well, what are the solutions? Yet before we can find solutions, we ought to seek understandings of the individuality of other queens. Like fingerprints, we are all different. For example, through childhood trauma or physical and mental abuse, one may be triggered by aggressive tones of voices. Now, another queen, not understanding that, might say, well, why are you so sensitive? The traumatized queen then shuts down. There, right there, is where the willingness to understand our fellow queens is imperative. For the traumatized queen to open up to the village, we must reassure her she's in a safe place, free of ridicule, abuse, hostility, and judgment. When she opens up, we, the village, must comfort and reassure her that she is worthy of respect and empowerment, of her sense of purpose. And as a village, we learn from that traumatized queen. So we teach each other. So we learn to replace judgment with loving kindness, understanding, and support. That's the village. And also in the village, I'd like to celebrate the kings in the village that treat us more precious than rubies. I think they get a bad rap sometimes. Not all kings are bad. And they're part of the village, as are princes and princesses. So our kings teach the princes, you know what? You treat women because they're more precious than rubies. Treat them with care and respect. And we have so much to teach by example more than chatter. And in these times, it's so imperative for us to come together and acknowledge each other with love, appreciation, celebration, and respect. This is sisterhood, Mia. We, as sisters in the village, we are the caretakers, basically. We teach, we're doctors in our own right. You know, back in the days before our grandmothers could go to school, I realized that they really were doctors with, remember, bush tea and all those things when we're sick? They were lawyers because they taught siblings how to get along. So, you know, they held their own mediations without even knowing it. We learned so much from, I call them the unsung. We need to celebrate those that sacrifice so much in that village for us to be here, because not to mention the soap opera, but as the world turns, you know, we go to different levels in life. And they prepared that platform for us. So that's what the village is to me, a part of it anyway. It is vast, and we need to look into that.
Yeah, that is so true, you know, what you just spoke on. And as you mentioned about trusting or being open to share, I think that's really a big issue that I found in talking to women,
Right.
and even some that have more male friends than women, because they don't trust.
No.
You know, so that takes me back to, let's talk about intentions, because we have to be careful of those who want to be part of the sisterhood in the village. Because sometimes we make mistakes of allowing individuals in that space that shouldn't be there. because of
That
their
is true.
alternative motives and
Mhm.
do not align with the sisterhood purpose, mission, or core values. You
So
agree with me,
true.
sis?
I agree with you, sis. I couldn't agree with you more. And I'd like to offer some tips on that, if you don't mind. To
Sure.
sum it up, to sum up what you said, Mia, this goes back to creating a safe place within our village. We must be mindful of those with the ulterior motives you speak about.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize, stay aware, don't fear, just be aware. Some come to spy with the intention to gossip and demean us outside the positive village we are creating. Ironically, that is simply a reflection of their insecurities. Some come to put wedges between us.
Mm-hmm.
Back home in Jamaica, they carry, I call it the carry go bring come phenomenon. Oh,
A long time to hear
we're,
that.
yeah, man, carry go bring come. Watch those, you hear me? And my grandmother also used to say, when dog asleep, him toe for watch, meaning
Mm-hmm.
be aware.
Yep.
So beware of those also that are eager to hear everything about your life, but they don't offer anything about your life. That's
Yes.
a big one.
Red flags.
When, here's another one. When good things happen to you, pay attention to negative remarks, often disguised as jokes. Also, facial expressions, body language are tell all signs. And that's why I love Judge Judy. Her village is her courtroom, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And she will invite you to leave accordingly when she sees these
Yep.
signs. And that's as gracious as I can put it, Miss Mia.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does Judge Judy know? She knows because she studies body language and certain pitches within a person's voice. So, to sum it up, to identify intentions, simply pay attention.
Yeah, we
What do
really
you?
have to pay attention to because sometimes we can overlook and sometimes we want to see the good in people, but sometimes we have to
Mhm,
look beyond that smile, beyond that
mhm.
body language to see if they have true intentions.
Yeah.
Because when, they open up and share some of their vulnerability after hearing what you have,
Mhm,
okay, I like this sister. But when they're
mhm,
quiet and just observing and not saying, now some people do quiet, because
mhm,
I do watch and observe, but when never speaking, just sit there time and talk
mhm,
about me, and not
mhm.
we.
Yep,
Red
because
flags.
it's, yeah.
Red flags.
Red flags, and they need healing.
Yeah.
But you can't force someone to heal if they don't want to.
Yeah. And it takes time. It's a process.
And
And even just
yes,
going through therapy and getting to the root
yes.
of the problem to start that
Mm-hmm.
process of healing to where you feel that safe space to open up and share.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
even if we do see a sister that's maybe quiet, not sharing, sometimes we have
Mm-hmm.
to pull her aside and say, hey, sis, you okay? What's going on? Because we may misjudge
Mm-hmm.
and thinking that she don't have good intentions, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe she's just not ready to open up just yet, or
Exactly.
don't know how to.
And
That's another
my sister cuz, as I'm
thing.
calling you now, a smile is one of the most dangerous things, in my opinion,
Hmm.
because you hide behind, some people hide behind a smile, and the unthinkable can happen. How do you know the difference? There's a thing called intuition, just like how I had the intuition that you were related to me.
Hmm.
Follow your intuition, learn to trust that inner voice.
Hmm.
I'm a Christian, and I believe that's the Holy Spirit speaking to you to listen. It's guidance, in other words. So there you go.
Yeah, that intuition is also my gut too, because when my gut telling my
Mhm.
spirit something ain't right, I start to pay
Mhm.
attention to that.
Mhm.
And as we talk about, these, intentions and stuff, I want to go back to trauma we experience as a child that causes behavioral disorders, how we treat individuals, have trust issues, and so much more into our adulthood.
Mhm.
Let's take a break, and when we return, we'll share some insights on the topic of childhood trauma and how
Mhm.
it affects us in adulthood. We'll
Yes.
be right back.
Okay.
Caribbean and Florida Association Incorporated, better known as CAFA, presents to you their annual Caribbean Fusion Festival 2024. Going down Sunday, April 28th from 12 noon to 7 p.m. at the Lakefront Park, Kissimmee, 69 Lakeview Drive, Kissimmee, Florida 34741. Caribbean dishes on sale like jerk products, curry chicken, escovitch fish, ackee and saltfish, brown stew chicken, rice and peas, dumpling, roti, and so much more. The MC for the day will be Craig Camacho. Entertainment will be reggae music, soca, steel pan, chutney, Latin, R&B, and special guest artists such as Red Plastic Bag out of Barbados, performing their big hit like Raga Raga. Also Adriana Clark, Terry Godrush, and Diana Babu himself, DJ Code Red will be in the building along with Island Rebels Band and so much more. Admission to this event is absolutely free. FREE. All sponsored by the City of Kissimmee, Experience Kissimmee, Kissimmee Utility Authority, Toho Water Authority, Osceola News Gazette, and for more information call Donna at 407-257-0283 or log on to www.cafainc.org. Once again, Sunday, April 28th, is the Caribbean and Florida Association presenting to you the annual Caribbean Fusion Festival. April 28th, make it a day.
Welcome back to the Mia Allman Show with my co-host, Miss Debs, my sister, whichever one you want to call her.
All of them, Mia, all of them.
Again, if you just joined us, we're talking on the topic of sisterhood, truth be told, because, we keep it real. We don't sugarcoat, no, we tell you like it is.
Mhm.
And our second discussion, I just talked about before we went to the break, is about childhood trauma.
Mhm.
When it comes to childhood trauma, it has a profound impact on individuals as they grow older, affecting their ability to communicate and trust others, including women. Now, men do have that issue too, but more so, I think men are affected by it more. Trauma experienced during childhood can lead to difficulties in performing and maintaining healthy relationships, behavioral disorders like depression, anxiety, substance abuse, family dysfunction, neglect, abuse, violence, and how we treat individuals, particularly in terms of trust issues and the fear of being hurt or betrayed. That also leads to insecure attachment patterns that affect us to connect with others, especially within a sisterhood. Now, researchers indicate that approximately 47% of behaviors learned in childhood transfers into adulthood, with that prototype version of these behaviors evolving as life progresses. Sis?
Right, Mia. Profound.
Yes.
With oh my goodness, that is a big topic for us to concentrate on even more in depth in the future. Now, with all that you said, childhood trauma, especially with African American, Caribbean, basically worldwide, is astonishing. With historical and intergenerational trauma adding layers to the complexity that negatively manifests in behaviors across generation, often referred to as a generational curse. This harbors fear of rejection, difficulty with intimacy, and challenges in establishing boundaries and healthy communication. To rectify these challenges, it's so important to seek therapy towards understanding the roots of childhood trauma so you can, one, engage in healing practices, two, develop effective interventions to alleviate long term consequences, three, improve healthy communication and resolve trust issues. Four, implement healthy relationships throughout adulthood and cope with anxiety while communicating with larger groups. Mia?
Wow. And as you were saying all this, even that
Mhm.
childhood trauma, when we go back to being bullied,
Oh,
someone
yes.
teasing us,
Mhm.
that we carry that. So then we get older, then we start to bully, you know, others, whether it's in your
Mhm.
job place or when your friends, that narcissistic behavior kicks in, or gaslighting each other,
Mhm.
and yeah, that goes back to, because I remember, child, I was bullied, culturally
Mhm.
discriminated because how I
Mhm.
looked or how I spoke
Mhm.
with, my cultural accent. And
Mhm.
thank God I had a mother that always instilled that be proud of who you are. And that when
Mhm.
someone says things to you, that ignorance is because they don't understand.
It's so true.
And we
And
have
I,
to,
uh-huh.
explain those things to them and not take it into your childhood and display what you experienced as a child into we got to treat each other just as if how we want to be treated.
Exactly. And I had a similar experience being bullied coming to America, living in Boston. Also grew up in New England, and I was bullied about my accent. And in Jamaica, the cultural difference here, when you answer a teacher, you better stand up with your hands behind your back in Jamaica. So
Mm-hmm.
when I did that in Boston, I was made fun of, the spitballs, the this, the that, and I was so unhappy. And one day, the Debbie you know now was born, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was surrounded by about 10 girls calling me names, I won't say on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And I had had enough. And I took my Scooby Doo lunchbox and Scooby Doo, Shaggy and all, and we beat up that girl, the leader of the gang. And then I looked at her and I said, your head's so tough, like coconut hucks, you broke up my thermos. and then, and then I ran home to my aunt and uncle who were raising me. And as I mentioned earlier, as the world turns, things are different now than they were then. I was 7 or 8 years old. And he said, if you cry, I'll go and give you something to cry for. If anybody hits you, hit them back. You can't tell us that now. Well, honey, Scooby-Doo was my friend back then. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. I get
And I went,
flashbacks of what you
yeah,
just said,
yeah,
because
yeah.
same thing in school, happened to me where this
Mm-hmm.
girl, she put her hands in my face with it, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
back up. And she just kept
Mm-hmm.
going on and on. And I don't know where I got the strength, but I jacked her and threw her against the wall.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like afterwards, I'm like, and she was teasing me. She's like, are you black? Are you white? Why do you talk like that? Because I had
Oh,
this
yeah.
Jamaican accent with the eh. And it's like, what is eh? And I said, what are you talking about? Of course, Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Canada. So, everything's like eh.
Mm-hmm.
But after, both of us got suspended from school, but when I came back, I walked up to her and she kind of flinched back. And I said, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm sorry. Because
Yeah.
I didn't like what I did. And I was like, why did you say these things to me? And I had your hands in my face. And it's like, we don't know
Mhm.
each other. And she was
Exactly.
told, from her mother that, light-skinned women get all the boys and they got the
Mhm.
pretty hair and stuff like that. So that was her hatred towards me, and
Yeah.
your
And
skin and stuff. I said, look here, sis. You know how
mhm.
many of us light-skinned women out in the sun, why even a Caucasian one, we trying to look like you and stuff, and that she just
Mhm.
looked at me. And my mother, I told my mother, what she had said. And we went over
Mhm.
to her mom's house and spoke to
Mhm.
her mother. And her mother didn't realize what she was saying to her daughter is what her mother told her. So that
Wow.
generational that rolled into her daughter,
Yeah.
from her to her, that
Mhm.
kept going there. And I said, we have to tell our daughters how
Yes.
beautiful they are, no matter what skin tone,
Yes.
size you are. You are
Uh-huh.
beautiful. You are amazing,
Yes.
to build their
You are a
confidence
human
because,
being.
yeah, kids don't know color, but when we introduce the different shades of color now, they start looking at kids
Mhm.
differently. And we need to
Mhm.
stop that. Even when
So
we get
true.
older and, even if we're African American, we like a Caucasian. So what? It's whatever the
Mhm.
heart wants, you know, and stop
And
looking
you
at color as a requisition, you know.
right. And I want to echo off of what you're saying. I have to go back when you said you didn't like what you did. I didn't like what happened. I didn't like what I did. I ran home crying. And my uncle sent me back, so I'm getting ready to fight, but I don't want to fight. I want
Mhm.
to get along. So, do you know that girl that hit me became my best friend?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we spoke about it. Just, it's so funny how synonymous we are. We had that talk. I said, why did you do that to me? Same thing. And she said, because I don't understand you. And then I was able to tell her about Jamaica and we became friends. So, there again, back to the village, it's so important to understand each other's journey to come to a peaceful and safe place because I was safe after that. I don't want to be a violent person. I
No.
want peace, love, and happiness. And that's only going to come through, as I keep saying, the willingness to understand. Because the next day after that, you notice she said, I didn't understand you. So that opened up a whole new portal of peace and understanding. So that's that. That's something to learn from. And that's instinct, Mia. That was just instinct
Yeah.
that I speak about, you know?
Yeah. But
So,
yes, it's to recognize those childhood trauma and not let it, move forward into your adult. And let me go back to touch on a couple of things.
mm-hmm,
First, we have to acknowledge the trauma event and understand what we just talked about. And
mm-hmm,
you are not responsible for it.
yeah,
Whatever happened to you in the past, a lot of times we're not responsible. But if we get to the root of the problem, we can correct and move forward and heal and
mm-hmm,
reclaim control over your life by letting go the past pain and making
mm-hmm.
choices based on your present rather than your past experience. Sometimes we move forward, but we're still taking things from the past. If you were hurt
Mm-hmm.
from, a loved one, every man that
Mm-hmm.
comes into your life now, you're comparing him that he's going to hurt. We have to let those things go and move forward.
And offer each other resources, such as even having a trusted girlfriend or
Mhm.
gentleman friend to speak to your community. And this is the village I speak of all the time.
Yeah.
It's the safe haven where we can offer counseling. If you don't trust counseling, read books on self-help. If you don't like to read, you can listen to an audiobook. There's so many resources out there for healing.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeking
And
support.
sometimes,
Sorry.
yes, see, and so it's our duty in that village to offer these suggestions to our kings, queens, princes, princesses. You know, we
As
can
a
do
life
that.
coach that, talking to, clients and even friends, that support group or professional help is so important to aid in, your healing, your journey, and especially avoid isolation and sitting in
Mm,
silence. Because when you're dealing with mental challenges and you have
mhm,
no one to talk to or
mhm,
anything, then that leads into having thoughts of suicide or committing suicide. So
mhm,
we have to get back before we go to that point, to the edge and back, like pull back and talk to someone so you're not in silence.
mhm.
No, because again, we don't want to lose a loved one, we don't want to lose a friend or
No.
anyone, and we don't want nobody sitting in silence. Trust me, I've been through that of having thoughts of
Mhm.
suicide when I was
Wow.
diagnosed with cancer, and it's not a good
Mm,
feeling. We have to
mm,
find ways to cope through it. And, those that are listening right now, if you know
mhm,
somebody that is experiencing that or show signs of
mhm,
mental challenges, talk to them. Don't judge them. Sometimes they just need someone to just listen to
mhm.
and help them get help, and
Yes.
stay with them until they can get
Yes.
help or, whether if you have to call the ambulance, whatever it is, need to, and remove the
Right.
weapons or anything that is harmful for them, but help them there and
Mhm,
don't brush it off. Or if you just see certain behaviors, say, hey, what's going on? You're not your normal
mm,
self. Because sometimes they're crying out
mhm,
for help,
mhm.
and again, as we talked about earlier, we got to pay attention to each other,
Yes, we
observe
do.
those behaviors.
Yes, we
Sometimes it's
do.
not always, the bad intentions. It's that we're seeking, we need help, but we don't know how to verbalize, you
We
know, getting the
we don't
help.
have the energy to ask for help,
Yeah,
nor the knowledge to ask for help, because depression is a dark hole.
yeah. They feel
Um,
embarrassed or ashamed,
and shame
and
and
yeah,
shame is a thing I want to talk about
yeah,
with trauma. A lot of times we have childhood traumas and it's not our fault. Yet, why is it we feel ashamed as if it's our fault? These are things we need to delve into and explore and try to help others along the way with. It's not, shame is a blockade to healing, in my opinion. So there
yeah.
you go.
And finally, healing from childhood trauma. Again, folks, it's a process. It takes time and effort.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrate the small victories along the way and honor your progress, no matter
Mm-hmm.
how small it may seem. Just
Mm-hmm.
celebrate it, celebrate it.
Yes. And you can use your trauma to help others.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if I went through something and I went through the shame and the depression, and I'm healed through counseling or whatever resources are available to me, I always have this thing upon myself. When you are blessed, you bless someone else. You speak out. And if you can touch someone, you've helped someone. So keep it moving. It's a baton within the village. Yes.
Sis, thanks so much for sharing all those vital information we just talked about. Now, let's share some self-care tips within a sisterhood. One,
Yes.
recognize the value of a sisterhood. Two, dedicate time to your spiritual connection. Three, don't try to carry everything on your own. Four, find your voice and stand up for yourself. Remind yourself and your sisters of their power, beauty, and ability to get through the difficult times. Create a safe space and share wisdom and experience because you never know how it can help another sister to heal. Remember, the key is building a self-care sisterhood that uplifts when you have challenges and cares for you in the way that reduces stress and help you thrive, strive, and survive daily. Sis, anything you would like to share on some words of wisdom before we go?
Absolutely, sis. What an empowering segment. My words of wisdom is brought to everyone with love. Take time today to love yourself in order to love others. Self care is imperative to your well being. You are deserving. Speak love into yourself. Never, ever put yourself down. Self respect teaches others to respect you. Also, rest is essential. It rejuvenates the mind, the body, the soul. Never be too busy that you forget yourself in the mix. Do the things that make your soul happy. Now, I'm going to go into what's coming up next on our show. Please don't forget to join the conversation next week, Thursday, April 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for part two of Sisterhood, how to build the village foundation of sisterhood as we discuss how to embrace cultural and personal differences, foster mutual understanding and support, celebrate each sister's individuality, promote unity and collective empowerment.
Wow, that was very powerful. And
Thank you.
wow, we shared so much today. And thank you for summarizing that because I know some of that probably went over, some of our heads and stuff. But, the conversation is going to continue. And I have to
Yes.
say a special thank you um, to my co-host, Miss Deb, my cousin, my sis, you know, for being here. And of course, the listeners. Remember, sisterhood is a precious gift from God. Women need each other to grow, find a community, and serve the Lord together. Because, we need that spiritual connection. We should focus on our common faith and share purpose rather than differences. As sisters within the sisterhood, the village, we are called to love each other deeply and unconditionally, encourage one another, and stand up for each other. That's support. I got your back, sis.
Mhm.
Thank you all for tuning in as always. Until next time, please stay safe, well, and continue to find your power of glow within the village of a sisterhood that equals our greater level of wellness within the mind, body, and soul. And I look forward to seeing you all next Thursday on the new episode of My Queen's Keepers. And of course, with my sis, my cousin, Miss Deb.
Yes. And In my closing, my sis, my cuz, Miss Mia, I would like to take this time to send love to all queens all over the world, but especially to our Queen's Keeper family. Never forget yourself in the mix. We tend to listen to others, but do we listen to ourselves? I highly recommend taking a walk alone, sitting quietly to hear the thoughts and needs from yourself and your inner child. Thank you for listening. Mia, thank you for having me as your host today. It was my absolute pleasure. And I wish everyone well with love and God's blessing. Thank you.
Amen.
The Jamaican American Association of Central Florida presents our annual appreciation luncheon and fashion show on April 20th, 2024 from 12 noon till 4 p.m. at the Varsity Club, Camping World Stadium, number 1, Citrus Bowl Place, Orlando, Florida, 32805. Join us as we celebrate our rich culture and heritage and show appreciation to our founders, Mr. Desmond and Mrs. Marjorie Brown. Tickets are $45 for adults and $25 for children 12 and under. All proceeds from this fundraiser will benefit our scholarship fund and other charities. So call 407-292-3719, 407-486-5001, or 407-467-1741. You may also visit jaaocf.com to purchase tickets. We look forward to seeing you.
Caribbean and Floridian Association Incorporated, better known as CAFA, presents to you their annual Caribbean Fusion Festival 2024. Going down Sunday, April 28th from 12 noon to 7 p.m. at the Lakefront Park, Kissimmee, 69 Lakeview Drive, Kissimmee, Florida, 34741. Caribbean dishes on sale like jerk products, curry chicken, escovitch fish, ackee and saltfish, brown stew chicken, rice and beans, dumpling, roti, and so much more. The MC for the day will be Craig Camacho. Entertainment will be reggae music, soca, steel pan, chutney, Latin, R&B, and special guest artists such as Red Plastic Bag out of Barbados, performing their big hits like Raga Raga. Also Adriana Clark, Terry Godrusher, Diana Babu himself, DJ Code Red will be in the building along with Island Rebels Band and so much more. Admission to this event is absolutely free. FREE. All sponsored by the City of Kissimmee, Experience Kissimmee, Kissimmee Utility Authority, Toho Water Authority, Osceola News Gazette, and for more information call Donna at 407-257-0283 or log on to www.cafainc.org. Once again, Sunday, April 28th, is the Caribbean and Floridian Association presenting to you the annual Caribbean Fusion Festival. April 28th, make it a day.
Hey, this is your girl Sophie G, your real sister from the Sophie G Show, and I am giving a shout out to KUO Magazine. They're dedicated to promoting a greater level of wellness in all of us. Yes, they bring out that glow. Caribbean Under One magazine features different cultures and personalities of both men and women from within our own communities, sharing biographies and their personal stories and challenges, even their secrets as to how they overcame the toughest obstacles they faced, with the hope of inspiring others. Caribbean Under One magazine gives back, and they acknowledge by honoring the Ribbon of Survivors 365 by bringing awareness to those who have overcome and struggled with chronic illnesses and conditions. They inspire. KUO encourages and reminds us all of the true importance of having that glow in all our lives. a greater level of wellness. This is your girl Sophie G, your real sister, who promises to always keep it real. For me not lie, I'm not try. And I say, get your subscription today. Just log on, tell your friends, tell your family to join in and become a member, to subscribe to KUOmagazine.com today.